When I was 5 years old, my mother thought I was old enough to walk the half a mile to my grandmother's house all by myself. But if my mother had known the dangers between my house and my grandmother's house, she would have escorted me with a bazooka gun on her hip. The first danger was the dog. It had snarly fangs and foam coming out of its mouth. It would come charging, barking at us, and he didn't eat our souls out if the 2-inch thick chain held strong. The other danger on the way to my grandmother's house was the snake. There was a ditch on the side of the road. It was 12 feet deep, 12 feet wide, and the water flowed in the mud slow. And the cattails grew up. And the cattails would go and in my 5-year-old brain, that was obviously a 50-foot long snake that was going to crawl up out of the ditch, wrap itself around me, and drag me down into that soul-sucking mud. Then, halfway to my grandmother's house, lived the witch. I know, I lived on a street with the witch. She always sat in her front porch. She rocked back and forth. Her hair was pulled back into a tight bun. Her one eye was closed and the other was foggy with age. But no matter how quietly I tried to go in front of her property, she would always lock her one good eye on me with her soul-sucking gaze. Well, one day, I walked to my grandmother's house with my cousin Dustin. My cousin Dustin was 6 months younger, a head taller, and 1,000 times more stupid. Because when we got to the witch's house, I said, "Quiet, quiet, we're at the witch's house." He said, "She's not a witch. Watch this." And he picked up a rock. He darted across the grass and he chucked it at the witch. Luckily, he wasn't a good throw. It hit the rocking chair. The witch got up. She started hobbling towards us with an amazing speed for someone that was at least 157 years old. I froze in terror. My legs would not move. Dustin ran back right by me. The witch went, "What a gawky! What a gawky!" And my cousin, he was stupid. He went and he put his hands on his hips and he went, "What a gawky!" Now, do you taunt a witch? No, you do not. That is not the intelligent thing to do. The witch got to us. She shoved her cane into his chest and she said, "What a gawky!" Puh, puh, puh. And she spit all over my cousin. And some of her soul-sucking spit got on me too. Then she turned her one good eye on me and she said, "What a gawky! Eco! Eco!" And then she turned around and hobbled back. She had said her enchanting words. I had her enchanted spit on me. I was going to die. And then I got feeling back in my legs and I raced the rest of the way to my grandmother's house. The next week was Halloween and we went trick-or-treating. But when you live out in the country like I do, you don't walk from house to house. You go in a vehicle. And my mom and my aunt shoved 17 of us into one station wagon. We were driving and my cousin Dustin said, "What are you?" I go, "I'm Puff, the magic dragon." He put his fingers through the eyes and the mouth. He yanked back my mask and went whack on my face, and then my mask fell onto my lap. The car stopped. The door of the station wagon swung open and children fell out like a fountain. I picked up my mask and my pillowcase. I started racing for the door because I wanted some candy. Dustin must have saw my little dragon tail behind me because he stomped on it with his foot and I went whack onto the cement. And my cousins and my sisters passed me going to the door. I picked myself up. I got the gravel out of my hands and off my belly and off my knees. And I pulled my dragon self together and I picked up my mask and I picked up my pillowcase and I started running for the front door as my sisters and cousins ran back to the car. I knocked on the front door and I went, "Trick or treat." Mrs. Ruth Shigamoto opened the door. "Ginger, what is wrong?" "My mask and I fell and..." "Come in, child, come in." She sat me down in a big overstuffed chair. She said, "Let me see your mask." I handed it to her. She says, "Ginger, a few staples. This will be as good as new. No problem." And she went into her kitchen. Then I looked out the big picture window and I saw my mom's station wagon pull away. And then I looked around the other part of the room, and not 5 feet from me on the end of the couch was the witch. What was the witch doing in Mrs. Ruth Shigamoto's house? I didn't make eye contact because you never make eye contact with a witch. But that didn't stop her. She came. She started hobbling towards me. She took out her gnarled hand. She placed it on my face. I thought, this isn't fair. I am 5 years old. It's Halloween night and I haven't gotten one piece of candy yet, and I'm going to die. The witch, with her hand on my cheek, said, "Warigaki, warigaki, iko, iko." Right then, Mrs. Ruth Shigamoto said, "Ginger, I see you've met my mother." The witch is your mother? But I knew that wasn't the polite thing to say, even at 5. I go, "Oh, she's your mother." "Yes." "Why does she talk like that?" "Oh, Ginger, my mother is Japanese. She doesn't speak any English." "What is she saying?" "Ginger, she says you're not a warigaki." "What's a warigaki?" "A naughty boy." "Oh." "She says you're an iko." "What's an iko?" "A good girl." "Oh." I had never heard Japanese before. I had never heard Taiwanese or Chinese or any kind of ease kind of language because, well, when I was a child, PBS kids did not care about multiculturalism. Mrs. Ruth Shigamoto gave me back my mask. She gave me 3 candy bars and sent me out the door. I looked up and down the street for my mom, and the station wagon pulled around because when you shove 17 children into one station wagon, you're bound to lose 1 or 2 on trick-or-treating night. Well, the next week I walked to my grandmother's house. The witch was sitting in her rocking chair like she always was. She raised her gnarled hand and she said, "Iko, iko." And I said the only Japanese I knew, "Warigaki."